The coffee cup trembled in Lieutenant Commander Park Jin-woo's hand as he stared at the screen. Numbers flashed across the display faster than he could read them. Something was coming toward Earth. Something big. "Sir, you need to see this," called Sergeant Kim Min-ho from across the Neptune monitoring station. His voice cracked with fear. "We have contacts. Lots of them." Jin-woo floated over to Min-ho's station in the zero-gravity. The young sergeant's face was pale as he pointed at the readings. 17 ships, sir. No, wait, 23, there. Slowing down from light speed. The objects were massive. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of deadly fish swimming through the darkness of space. Jin-woo had never seen anything like it. "Get Admiral Lee on the line," he ordered. "Emergency priority." Admiral Lee Soo-yoon arrived at the station within an hour. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and deep lines marked her weathered face. She had fought in 3 wars on Earth, but this was different. This was first contact with alien life, and they did not look friendly. "How big are they?" she asked, studying the data. "Each ship is about 5 kilometers long," Min-ho reported. "They're made of some kind of metal we don't recognize. And sir, they're not moving randomly. They're taking positions around our solar system." Then every screen on Earth lit up at once. Every television, every computer, every phone. The alien message came through in perfect human languages. The voice was cold and mechanical, speaking English, Chinese, Korean, and dozens of other languages all at the same time. "Humans of Earth. I am Commander Veltar, of the Zephyrian Hegemony. Your species has been evaluated and found incompatible with galactic peace. Surrender will result in swift termination. Resistance will result in prolonged suffering before termination. You have 1 standard day to respond." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in stunned silence, deep beneath Seoul. In a bunker built during the old wars, President Cho Hae-jin gathered her top advisors. The room was filled with the soft glow of holographic displays showing the alien fleet positions. Everyone spoke in whispers, as if the aliens might hear them through solid rock. Defense Minister Wang Kusik looked sick as he explained their situation. "Ma'am, we're outgunned in every possible way. Our best space weapons are nuclear missiles. Their ships probably have shields that could stop 100 of our nukes without even noticing." General Park Dong-soo nodded grimly. "Our space fleet has 12 ships. They have 23, each one 50 times bigger than ours. If we fight them in space, we'll be dead in minutes." President Cho looked around the room at her advisors. Some were old soldiers who had seen real war. Others were young scientists who had dreamed of meeting alien life under better circumstances. All of them looked frightened. "What about our ground defenses?" she asked. Colonel Jung Naeong, head of strategic planning, stepped forward. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. "We've been preparing for alien invasion scenarios for 20 years, not because we expected it, but because it made good training exercises." She activated a holographic map of Earth. Red dots appeared under every major city, connected by glowing lines. "We have underground bunkers that can hold millions of people. We have hidden weapons factories powered by geothermal energy. We have tunnel networks that span entire continents. Can we win?" asked the president. Dun Jung Naeong was quiet for a long moment. "Not in a fair fight, but humans have never fought fair fights. We adapt. We learn. We survive." Defense Minister Wang shook his head. "They have technology we can't even understand. Energy weapons, faster than light travel, ships that probably have artificial gravity. What do we have?" "We have home field advantage," Jung Naeong replied. "They want to occupy Earth, not destroy it completely. That means they have to come down here and fight us on our ground. And we know every rock, every cave, every hiding place on this planet." President Cho stood up slowly. Everyone in the room, watched her. The weight of humanity's future rested on her next words. "Send them our reply," she said finally. The technician's hands shook as he typed the message. It was broadcast on all frequencies, sent directly to the alien fleet waiting beyond Pluto. "We reject your ultimatum. Come and take what you can." The message was simple, but it carried the defiance of an entire species. Humans had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear weapons. They had climbed out of caves to reach the stars. They would not surrender now. Commander Veltar received Earth's reply aboard his flagship. He had expected immediate surrender or panicked begging for mercy. Instead, these primitive creatures were challenging him. He almost felt respect for their courage, even as he prepared to crush them. "Very well," he transmitted back to his fleet. "Begin the bombardment. Make it quick." The war for Earth was about to begin. The sky above Tokyo turned white at exactly 6 in the morning. Lieutenant Sato Kenji was drinking his morning coffee when the first beam hit the city center. He had 3 seconds to see the buildings melt like ice cream before the shockwave threw him against the wall. 15 million people died in Tokyo in less than a minute. The plasma beams from the alien ships were so hot they turned concrete and steel into glass. Where the great city had stood, only a smooth crater remained, glowing red in the morning light. General Kim Dae-yoon watched it all from his bunker deep under the Korean mountains. The screens showed city after city disappearing under the alien fire. Beijing vanished in a flash of blue light. New York's skyscrapers melted like candles. London became a lake of molten rock. "Sir," whispered Communications Officer Lee Guo, her voice breaking. "The casualty reports are coming in. 3 billion people are dead. 3 billion in just 6 hours. The numbers were too big to understand. Half of humanity had been wiped out before lunchtime. But this was exactly what Admiral Lee had planned for." As the alien beams continued to fall, hidden doors opened all across Earth. Operation Earthworm had been prepared in secret for 20 years. In mountains from Tibet to the Rocky Mountains, missile silos that nobody knew about opened their steel mouths. Every nuclear weapon on Earth launched at the same time. Thousands of warheads streaked up through the atmosphere toward the alien fleet. The aliens watched the primitive missiles approach their ships. Commander Veltar almost laughed at the pathetic human response. Their energy shields barely flickered as the nuclear weapons exploded harmlessly against them. It was like trying to hurt a tank with firecrackers. But underground, the real war was just beginning. Captain Park, Seo-kyun, crawled through the subway tunnels beneath what had been Seoul. The air still smelled of melted metal and burned concrete. His team of 12 survivors followed him through passages that had been secretly reinforced with steel and concrete years ago. "Status report," he whispered into his radio. "Tunnel 7 is clear," came the reply from Sergeant Omensu. "We can see alien dropships landing on the surface. They're deploying ground troops." Above them, Safarian soldiers walked through the glass craters where human cities had stood. They wore powered armor that made them look like metal giants. Their weapons could cut through solid rock. They thought they were occupying a dead world. The alien commander, sub-leader, Karthox, studied his scanner readings. No life signs detected in this sector. The bombardment was completely effective. His scanners were designed to detect normal life on the surface. They could not see through 3 kilometers of solid rock to the tunnel networks below. The aliens had technology that could cross the galaxy, but they had never fought an enemy that lived underground like ants. Chief Engineer Eugene Nuke worked by lamplight in a hidden factory deep beneath the Himalayas. On his workbench lay pieces of alien equipment that had fallen during the bombardment. The metal was unlike anything humans had ever seen. It was light as aluminum, but stronger than titanium. "Look at this," he said to his assistant, Dr. Park, Minji. He held up a fragment of alien armor. "Their technology is amazing, but it has weaknesses. See these power conduits? They're vulnerable to electrical overload. Around the world, other human survivors were learning the same lessons. In the tunnels beneath what had been Los Angeles, engineer Kim Young-ho discovered that alien energy weapons needed time to recharge between shots. In the caves, under the Swiss Alps, physicist Lee Jae-on found that their force fields could be disrupted by specific radio frequencies. The aliens established military bases on the surface, building their structures on the glass plains where human cities had stood. They patrolled regularly, their scanners sweeping for any signs of remaining human activity. For 3 months, they found nothing. Then Patrol Unit 7 went missing near the ruins of BUSAN. Squad leader Valenix had been leading his 6 soldiers through a routine sweep of the crater. They were checking for useful materials in the melted remains when they simply vanished. No distress signal, no weapons fire, no trace of what had happened to them. Equipment malfunction, decided Commander Veltar when he read the report. The heat from the bombardment probably damaged their communications gear. Send a replacement patrol. The replacement patrol also disappeared. So did the next one. Captain Park, Seo-kyun smiled grimly as he watched his team drag the alien bodies into the tunnels. The enemy armor and weapons would be very useful. More importantly, each missing patrol made the aliens a little more nervous. They think we're all dead, he radioed to the other survivor groups. Let them keep thinking that. Every patrol they send out is a chance for us to get stronger. In hidden workshops around the world, human engineers began their real work. They studied alien technology, piece by piece, learning how it worked. The power sources, the weapons, the armor, the communications equipment. Everything the aliens had brought to destroy humanity would be turned against them. The aliens had won the first battle by destroying Earth's cities, but the war was far from over. Deep underground, in tunnels they couldn't detect, humanity was evolving. They were becoming something new, something dangerous. The glass craters on the surface gleamed in the alien sun, monuments to human death. But beneath the earth, in the darkness, humanity was very much alive and learning to fight back. Dr. Choi Min-jung held the alien weapon like it was made of gold. The plasma rifle was beautiful in a deadly way. Its crystal power core glowed with soft blue light, like a captured star. She had been studying it for 6 months in her hidden laboratory deep under the Himalayan mountains. This is incredible, she said to the group of resistance fighters gathered around her table. Their energy system is better than anything we ever built. But look at this metal. She tapped the rifle's frame with her finger. It's weaker than our steel, in some ways. Lieutenant Colonel Oh Ji-hoon picked up the strange new weapon her team had made. It looked like a human rifle, but alien crystal cells powered it instead of gunpowder. You're sure this will work against their armor? Min-jung smiled, but her eyes were cold. Their shields stop energy beams and slow bullets. But they've never seen what happens when you fire a tungsten rod at 30 times the speed of sound. The weapon was a hybrid, part human engineering and part alien technology. Human railguns fired metal projectiles using magnetic fields. Alien power cells made those projectiles move faster than anything the universe had seen before. 2,000 kilometers away, in the Australian desert, Sergeant Major Yoon Jae-yoon lay hidden in the red sand. His squad of 8 soldiers had been waiting for 3 hours. Above them, alien dropships circled the old mining complex like metal vultures. The Zephyrians had detected human activity in the area. 20 alien soldiers in powered armor walked carefully through the abandoned buildings, their scanners sweeping for signs of life. They moved in perfect formation, covering each other like trained professionals. Target acquired, whispered Corporal Kim Sun-ho into his radio. Range, 400 meters. The hybrid weapons made almost no sound when they fired. Just a soft whisper as the tungsten projectiles left the barrels at impossible speeds. The first alien soldier simply disappeared. One moment he was there, The next he was gone. His armor scattered like broken glass. The other aliens spun around, trying to find their attackers. Their shields flickered and sparked as more whisper shots found their targets. The energy barriers that could stop plasma beams were useless against solid metal moving at hypersonic speeds. The projectiles punched through the shields like they weren't even there. In 30 seconds, 20 alien soldiers became piles of broken metal and strange alien blood. They never fired a single shot. They never even saw their killers. High above in orbit, Commander Veltar stared at his command screen in confusion. Patrol Unit 12 had just gone silent. No distress signals, no weapons fire, no communications at all. They had simply vanished from his sensors. Send another patrol, he ordered his aide, and this time, give them air support. But it was too late for air support to help. The humans had learned too much in the past year. They knew how alien technology worked now. More importantly, they knew how to break it. Major Lim Su-Yang moved through the tunnel networks like a ghost. Her mobile command center was built into an old subway train that could travel anywhere under the earth without being detected. She coordinated resistance cells on 6 continents, sharing information and planning attacks. Every time the aliens lost a patrol, the humans gained new equipment, weapons, armor, communication devices, scanner technology. Human engineers studied each piece with the focus of students preparing for the most important test of their lives. The power source is crystalline, reported Chief Engineer Park Woo-jin during a secure transmission. It stores energy in quantum states we don't fully understand yet, but we can copy it. What about their propulsion? Asked Major Lim. That's the really interesting part, Park continued, excitement in his voice despite the circumstances. They don't just move through space, they bend space around them. If we can figure out how that works. In laboratories hidden around the world, human scientists worked day and night. They had advantages the aliens didn't expect. Human minds were flexible in ways alien minds were not. Where the Zephorians followed rigid procedures, humans improvised and adapted. Dr. Lee in the Swiss tunnels discovered that alien force field generators overloaded when hit with certain radio frequencies. Engineer Yu Soo-jin under the ruins of Mumbai found that their armor became brittle when exposed to specific electromagnetic pulses. Each discovery spread through the resistance network within hours. Quantum communication systems, reverse engineering from alien technology, allowed instant coordination across the globe. The scattered survivors were becoming a unified fighting force. The aliens began to notice that something was wrong. Patrols went missing with increasing frequency. Equipment malfunctioned in ways their engineers couldn't explain. Reports came in of human technology that shouldn't exist. Impossible, muttered Commander Veltar as he read the latest intelligence reports. These primitives were barely capable of nuclear fission a year ago. How are they building energy weapons? But humans had always been good at one thing, learning from their enemies. They had studied alien tactics, reverse-engineered alien technology, and adapted it to human needs. What they created was something new, something the aliens had never encountered. Major Lim made her daily report to Admiral Lee from deep underground. We're not just hiding anymore. We're not just surviving. We're becoming something different, something stronger. The adaptation protocol was working perfectly. Humanity was evolving, one captured alien weapon at a time. The ice cracked and split as something huge pushed up from beneath the Antarctic wasteland. Chief Designer Park Jin-young stood in the control room, watching 18 months of secret work finally see sunlight. The ship that emerged was beautiful and deadly, its hull gleaming with both human steel and alien crystal technology. Launch sequence complete, announced Captain Kim Yoon-hai from the Bridge of Soul's Vengeance. All systems green. Fusion drive is running hot and clean. Park Jin-young felt tears in his eyes as he watched humanity's first starship rise into the cold Antarctic sky. They had done it. They had taken alien technology and made it their own. The ship could travel faster than light, just like the enemy vessels that had burned their cities. But one ship would not be enough to win this war. Deep beneath the earth, in factories that stretched across entire continents, machines worked without stopping. They consumed metal, plastic, rare earth elements, anything they could get. The production lines ran 24 hours a day, building ship after ship after ship. The aliens built their vessels like works of art. Each Sifarian ship was perfect, powerful, and took years to complete. They believed in quality over quantity. It was a philosophy that had served them well for thousands of years. Humans had a different idea. Where the aliens built one perfect ship, humans built 100 good ones. Where aliens spent years crafting a single vessel, humans mass-produced fleets in months. It was the same approach that had won the old world wars on Earth, but now applied to space combat. Fleet Admiral Jung Minseok walked through the vast underground harbor carved into the bedrock beneath Siberia. Hundreds of ships filled the enormous cavern, each one sleek and deadly. They were called Predator-class vessels, designed for one purpose, killing alien ships. The crews that manned these ships were all volunteers. Every one of them had lost family in the bombardment. Some had lost entire cities, full of friends and relatives. They had nothing left to lose, and everything to gain from revenge. "Listen to me," Admiral Jung said to the assembled crews. His voice echoed through the cavern. 18 months ago, they came to our world. They burned our cities. They killed our children. They thought they had destroyed us. The crowd was silent. 3,000 crew members, all survivors of the glass crater period, all ready to die for the chance to strike back. Today, we prove them wrong. Today we take the war to them. They came to our home and murdered our families. Now we're going to follow them home. The cheers that erupted shook dust from the cavern ceiling. The first wave launched at exactly midnight, coordinated across 6 continents. Hidden doors opened in mountains, deserts, and ice fields. 300 human starships rose from the earth like angry wasps from a disturbed nest. They jumped faster than light speed in perfect coordination. For the first time in over a year, space around Earth was filled with human vessels instead of alien ones. Commander Veltar was reviewing patrol reports when his sensor officer screamed, "Sir, massive contact emergence. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace." The Zephyrian commander looked at his tactical display in complete disbelief. Where there had been empty space moments before, now hundreds of human ships surrounded his fleet. It was impossible. The humans had no space technology. They were primitive ground crawlers who had barely reached their own moon. "All ships, battle stations," he ordered. "Prepare for combat." But the humans didn't fight like any civilized species the Zephyrians had ever encountered. There were no formal challenges, no single combat between champions, no honorable dueling. Instead, the human ships attacked like a swarm of insects. Dozens of human vessels coordinated suicide runs against each alien ship. Their hulls were packed with antimatter bombs that would detonate on impact. Other ships fired kinetic kill weapons. Simple chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds that could punch through any armor. Captain Lee Dongyuk piloted his ship through the chaos of the first space battle humanity had ever fought. Around him, human ships exploded as they rammed into alien vessels. It was a trade of 10 human ships for every alien one, but the humans had come prepared for exactly that kind of mathematics. "They're not fighting," screamed Commander Veltar, as his flagship's shields failed under the relentless assault. "They're just throwing themselves at us like rabid animals." The Zephyrian commander had spent centuries fighting other civilized species. Those wars followed rules, had honor, respected the lives of soldiers on both sides. This was something completely different. The humans fought like they had nothing to lose, because they truly had nothing left to lose. Half of Veltar's fleet was destroyed in the first 20 minutes. The remaining ships tried to retreat, but human vessels pursued them relentlessly. Every alien ship that tried to escape was swarmed by multiple human attackers. As the battle ended, Captain Lee transmitted coordinates back to Earth. The second wave of human ships was already preparing to launch from hidden bases around the world. Not hundreds this time, but thousands. And after that would come tens of thousands. The aliens had awakened something terrible in humanity. They had created an enemy that would never stop, never surrender, and never forgive. The swarm was rising, and it was hungry for revenge. The last Zephyrian city died in flames that could be seen from space. Fleet Admiral Yoon Sung-won stood on the bridge of Earth's retribution, watching through the main view screen as plasma beams turned ancient buildings into ash. His face showed no emotion as millennia of alien civilization vanished in minutes. "Admiral," called Commander Song Minju from her station. "We're getting transmission from the surface. They want to surrender. Complete surrender, sir." Sung-won said nothing. The bombardment continued. Below, on the planet, the last members of the species that had tried to exterminate humanity were learning what extinction felt like. It had taken 4 long years to hunt them all down, 4 years of chasing alien ships across the galaxy, finding every hidden colony, every secret base, every refugee camp where Zephyrians tried to hide. Human fleets moved through space like a plague, killing everything connected to the hegemony. Other alien species watched in terror from their own worlds. They saw an entire civilization disappear as human ships systematically sterilized planet after planet. The humans didn't take prisoners. They didn't negotiate. They didn't show mercy. They just killed, efficiently and completely. Admiral Park Taeyeon commanded the final phase from his flagship Humanity Ascendant. Cables and neural implants connected his brain directly to the ship's computer systems. The technology was stolen from dead Zephyrians and improved by human engineers. It allowed him to control 1,000 ships at once across multiple star systems. "Sector 7 clear," reported Captain Kwon Juye from the Zephyrian capital system. "No life signs on any planet. All targets neutralized." Park nodded and marked another system as sterile on his holographic display. The Zephyrian Empire had once controlled 47 worlds. Now they controlled none. Their species existed nowhere. In the galaxy, the humans who fought this war were not the same humans who had lived peacefully on Earth 5 years ago. The bombardment had changed them. Losing 3 billion people in a single day had broken something inside the human spirit and replaced it with something harder. Each human ship was now a hybrid of technologies. Alien biotechnology merged with human engineering, created vessels that were alive in ways that normal ships were not. The crews themselves had been changed too, their bodies enhanced with alien improvements, their minds linked to their ships through neural interfaces. They were no longer purely human, but they remembered being human. They remembered Earth before the glass craters. They remembered the billions who had died, and they made sure the galaxy would never forget either. President Cho Hai-jin walked slowly through the memorial hall deep beneath New Geneva. She was old, now, her hair white and her face lined with years of war. The walls around her displayed 3 billion names, one for each person who had died in the first alien attack. The war was over. Humanity had won. But victory felt hollow when she looked at what they had become to achieve it. The humans returning from the final battles were barely recognizable. Their eyes were cold and empty. They spoke in clipped, efficient sentences. They had become perfect killing machines, optimized for one purpose: total warfare. Was it worth it? She asked the empty hall. The names on the wall couldn't answer her. Across the galaxy, automated human listening posts drifted in the darkness between stars. They scanned constantly for any sign of new threats, any species that might decide humans needed to be eliminated. Their message broadcast on all frequencies in hundreds of languages. Earth remembers, Earth endures, Earth will answer. It was A promise and a warning. The galaxy had learned to fear a new apex predator. Other alien civilizations changed their expansion plans to avoid human space. Trade routes were redirected. Diplomatic missions were cancelled. The humans had proven that they could adapt to any threat and become something worse than their enemies. They had taken alien technology and improved it. They had studied alien tactics and countered them. Most terrifyingly, they had shown they could exterminate an entire species without hesitation in the deepest parts of space. Where light from stars never reached, human ships patrolled in silence. They were the antibodies of a species that would never again allow itself to be vulnerable. Any threat to humanity would be met with overwhelming, immediate, and total response. The Zephyrian hegemony was gone. Their worlds were empty wastelands. Their technology was now human technology. Their empire was a lesson written in the ashes of 47 dead worlds. But the cost had been terrible. Humanity had survived by becoming something that barely deserved the name human. They had evolved into apex predators, but lost their souls in the process. On Earth, children grew up learning about the glass crater period. They studied the names of the 3 billion dead. They practiced emergency drills for alien invasion, and they learned that humanity's survival depended on never again showing weakness to the galaxy. The species that had once dreamed of peaceful contact with alien life had become the thing. Other species had nightmares about. They were efficient, ruthless, and absolutely committed to their own survival above all else. The galaxy was a quieter place now. Species kept to themselves. No one wanted to attract the attention of the humans. The name Earth had become synonymous with extinction for those foolish enough to threaten it. Humanity had answered the Zephyrian ultimatum. They had taken what they could, and it had been everything.